Welcome back, Excel chicks. In this video, we are going to be talking about VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP is a powerful Excel function. It's used for searching and retrieving data from a table. It's commonly used if you have a large data set or you want to find specific information based on a lookup value. So we're going to be demonstrating all of this today in this tutorial. So you can see this is our main inventory sheet that we're going to be using VLOOKUP to fill up missing information. We have a product, we have the sizes of products, we have product ID, color ID, store ID, we have our stock. What we don't have are the product name, the category name, the color name. We don't have price, store name, store zip. So we are going to be using VLOOKUP to fill in that information. All right, so let me just show you each of the tabs. So the store information is stored in the store sheet. You can see we have store ID, followed by store name, the address information, and zip code. The same thing with colors. Our first column will have the color ID, and then the next column has our color description. And product has a little bit more information. We have product ID, product description, length, category ID. We have category that's blank. And so we're actually going to start our VLOOKUP here instead of on the inventory tab. And we have price. And then we have category. So we can see our category is here. So we want to actually get the category name for this list. So we'll just go ahead and start our VLOOKUP right here in category. Start that by doing your equal VLOOKUP. Now the lookup value corresponds to what we're looking for and what we want to return. So we are looking to return the description or the category description based on category ID. So we're going to select category ID, use our comma, and pop over to our category sheet and select columns A and columns B. The reason I selected the entire column is because if we add additional categories, we would not have to change our formula or VLOOKUP. And the next information we need to enter is our column index number. And this is a very important part, and it can be confusing. So you don't actually enter the column name, you enter a number. So remember, when we're looking at VLOOKUP, when we're looking at the table array, the information that we want to match always needs to be in the first column. And what we put in this column index number is the number of the column that has the data we want to return. In this example, this is a super simple table with just 2 columns. And so this is column 1. Oops. So this is column 1, column A is column 1, column B is column 2. So we're going to put 2 here. And this section is true or false. So you could also use 1 for true, 0 for false, and I use 0 because I want to return an exact match. And we can just use our, if you saw that, we used our auto handler to copy the formula down. So you can see, so we have pants, shorts, crops. We have pants, shorts, and crops. All right, so let's go back to our inventory and start pulling in. We're going to fill up our product first. So let's pull in this product information. So we're going to do equal VLOOKUP. Our lookup value is product ID. Use our comma. We're going to select our column array. In this example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, because we're always going to be using product ID, so I'm trying to be a little bit forward thinking here. So I'm going to make my product ID an absolute reference for the actual column, but not the row. And that's with the $ in front of the column, but not the row, which is 2. And then because our data array is not going to change, we don't want it to change if we copy over the formula to a different column, we're going to do an absolute reference here as well. And what that means by those dollar signs is that if we move this formula or copy it to a different cell, it's going to keep these references. And now we need our column index number. So we want to pull in the product description. So remember, the first column is column 1, this is 2, this is 3, 4, 5, 6. We want to return 2. So we're going to do our 2. We're going to do 0, enter, and there we go. We have our Lululemon high-rise pants 25. You can scroll through and see the different values that pop through over here. We want to see all of our information. And so if we just double click here, once our icon changes, double click and it will expand the column to fit all of that information. And so recall that we have category now in the product tab. So we're going to use our VLOOKUP to get product. But what we're going to do in this case is we're going to copy this formula. I'm going to copy it over using the autofill handler. You can see it brings over the same information. But the only thing that's different in the VLOOKUP for product and category is this right here, the column reference number. So if you just played around with this, you could see, okay, what's in column 3? Oh, okay, that's inches. So that's the length. And what's column 4? That's the category code. So now we know column 5, that has our category. Likewise, we could have just gone over here and counted once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we would have known right away. But I think that's good to kind of demonstrate. And so we use our autofill handler to double click. It drags down the category. And so we can quickly kind of verify, yep, we have our crops, shorts, everything's populated. So now we're going to do color. This is going to be a different tab that we're going to be looking up. So we select our lookup value in the color ID column, C2, click over to colors. It's a fairly simple table array with only 2 columns, so we know the column we want to return is column index 2. We want 0 because we want an exact match. There we go. It turns back black. We're going to double click that autofill handler and it brings it back. So price. So if we can refresh our memory, where is price? Well, price is in the product category and it is column number column number 6. So in order to save time, we could copy another where we use these absolute references. Because remember, we're going to be using product ID to get price. And so I'm going to copy this formula that we already used, and understanding it's not pants because pants is looking at 5. We want to look at 6. Oh, no, we want to look at, oops, wrong one. Okay, that's 0. We want to look at, 6. There we go, 98. All right, so it brings back the price. I will quickly change this to currency and remove the decimals. And so the next one we want to look at is we want to pull back the store name, and we're going to use VLOOKUP to pull back the store name based on store ID. We'll go to store. Because we're going to use this for 2 different things, we're going to be pulling in the store name as well as the zip code. I am going to put an absolute reference on column D because I'm going to copy that formula over. And delete this and go ahead and select my table array. So I'm selecting columns A through F. And because we're going to be using this and copying over this formula, I'm going to use absolute reference. Our data is always going to stay an A through F in this example. And then what are we trying to return? We're trying to return the information in store. So that is column 1, 2. And we want a exact match. And there we go. It's in North Hills. So let's copy over this formula. This time I did Control C. Control C, I'm going to Control V, and you can see it copies it over. And we're just going to change this to 3. You can see, oh, that's the address. Nope, 4. So I'm thinking 5 is going to be the city, and 6 is a zip code. So we'll double click and bring that all the way down, and we can just scroll through our data and see everything is filled out. And that is in a gist VLOOKUP. Stay tuned for our next tutorial where we are actually going to be building on this data and creating some charts and things like that. In addition, there may be an additional tutorial where instead of VLOOKUP, I'm going to show you how to use index match. As always, please, if you enjoy this video, like and subscribe. And until next time, Excel chicks.